We're on page 81, and we're going to do 5D, 6D, and 6I. So here's 5D right here. Going to do that one. And we're going to do 6D and 6I. We start with the first problem, 5D, x squared minus x minus 6 over x minus 2 over x squared divided by x squared minus 4x over x squared minus x minus 2 times x minus 4 over x squared plus x. So what we're going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to set this up. Here's the problem restated right here on this first line. And what we're going to do is change this. First of all, we're going to factor this here. So this factors as x minus 3x plus 2 because the inner term is minus 3x. The outer term is plus 2x. They sum to minus x. Minus 3 and plus 2 give me the minus 6. And the x times the x gives me x squared. So this x2 is this x this x minus 2 here is this x minus 2 here. Now this one, this term here is divide. I'm going to invert and multiply. Though this will go to the numerator and this will go to the denominator, which we've done right here. So we've just flipped this. We're making it multiplied. So that's the only difference. And this term stays the same. So in going from this line to this line, we've done two things. We factored this, and we made this into multiplication by moving the numerator down to the denominator and moving the denominator up to the numerator. Then we factor this, and we get x minus 2 and x plus 1. First times first gives me x squared. The combination of the inner and the outer gives me minus x because it's minus 2x as the inner plus 1x as the outer gives me minus x, and minus 2 times plus 1 gives me minus 2. Now I'm going to factor this, take out the x minus 4. This one I'm going to leave the same, so that's this one. I'm going to factor x from these two terms here, and I get x plus 1. So then it's a matter of cancellation. I cancel the x minus 2, I cancel the x minus 4, and I cancel the x plus 1. So what am I left with? X plus 2 right here, x minus 3 right here, and I've got an x here and an x here, which becomes x squared. The next problem is what we're going to do is rewrite the problem here, 3x over x minus 5 minus 2x minus 25 over 5 minus x. Now what I've done is I've moved this over to here and this over to here and changed the sign. We've discussed this in several problems before, that we can interchange these positions here. If there's a minus here between these two, we can interchange them and then put a plus here, and that's what I've done here. So this x goes over here, this 5 goes over here. The sign stays the same, but this sign becomes positive. And as I've said, we've discussed this several times in the problems before and in examples. Now what I have is common denominator x minus 5 right here. So I add 3x and 2x, I get 5x, and I got the minus 25. Now out of these two, I can factor out 5. 5 times x gives me 5x, and 5 times minus 5 gives me minus 25. So now I have an x minus 5 on the denominator, x minus 5 on the numerator, which I cancel, And so I'm left with the number 5 as the answer here. Okay, now in this case, we've rewritten the problem right over here, so there's no change. This is just the first line. And the second line is basically the same too, except I'm putting a brackets over here. We'll see the reason for that in a second, but I'm just going to put a bracket. I'm allowed to do that because there's a minus here, and the minus applies to this term, and to this term. So now you can see that all three denominators are the same. So then I can just add x minus 9 to this, and I can subtract all of these terms from the sum of these two terms. And that's what I've done here. 3x squared minus 6 is this one, plus x minus 9. So plus x minus 9. And really I should be on this line. I'm sorry. Let's go back again. The common denominators are the same. So this term here is this one here. This one here is that one there. And the minus with the brackets is right here. So that's what I've done because the denominators are the same. When the denominators are the same, I can simply take the numerators and add or subtract them as depending on what the sign is. So 3x squared minus 6 is this one, plus x minus 9 is this one. Now I do minus 2x squared over here, minus, and really there's an implied 1 here, so minus 1 times plus x gives me minus x, and minus 1 times plus 1 gives me minus 1. So I've actually only just removed the bracket here and changed all the signs. Now, 3x squared minus 2x squared gives me x squared. The plus x and the minus x cancel. And so I have nothing in the x term. Minus 6 and minus 9 becomes minus 15. And minus 1 becomes minus 16. So let's go over that. 3x squared minus 2x squared gives me the x squared. The plus x and the minus x sums to 0. Minus 6 minus 9 minus 1 gives me minus 16. And you could put a little tick mark above these when you've got these many terms and you handle it first. Let's say put a tick mark 3x squared minus 2x squared and you get x squared. So you got a tick mark there. Then you've got plus x and minus x. So tick those off and you get 0. And then you handle minus 6, minus 9, minus 1. And at the end you see if there's any tick marks left of terms that you haven't canceled. So it's a useful means of checking or making sure that you're doing this right. So we now have x squared minus 16 over x squared plus x minus 20. We factor that as a difference of squares. X plus 4, x minus 4. Note that the first times the first gives me the x squared. The plus 4 times the minus 4 gives me the minus 16. And the inner is plus 4x and the minus 4x outer cancel to give 0. This one, the x times the x gives me x squared plus 5x inner minus 4x outer gives me plus x, and plus 5 times minus 4 gives me minus 20. Now the common factors are x minus 4 and x minus 4 here on the numerator and denominator. So I'm left with x plus 4 over x plus 5 as the answer. So that completes the exercises on page 81 that we're